I always envision myself being somebody important. I want to be one of the biggest drug dealers in Richmond. Nah, the Bay Area.
Can you face it? You either die at a young age, tell or be in the cage. Rob, be a renegade, lie, it's a lie. She know that crime pays, five blades in my veins, hustle to you for the pain, lie, it's a lie.
Damn, this movie blows my mind. It's like when I look at it, it reminds me of, it's a great exploration of what every hood is like, and probably even worse in some cases. Mm. And you, coming from that community and built this great piece of poetry, this poetic work, this play, it's like, I'm floored by it. What was your inspiration?
The idea, the concept of doing the Romeo and Juliet in Richmond came from a mentor of mine named Ruben Morgan. We was looking for a theater for another show that we was doing 2012 in May, and he had saw this balcony, and he was like, this would be a good scene for Romeo and Juliet in Richmond. Him and Molly, my co-partner up in the program Raw Talent, she talked about it. And then I was like, nah, I don't think we should do it in Richmond because it's kind of corny. Like people in my neighborhood, we ain't gonna really relate to no Shakespeare.
Of course.
So I thought about it, and then once I saw the parallels of two families feuding, and love is what brought their offspring together, and I'm like, well, I'm from this side of the neighborhood, and my students I was working with is from the other neighborhood, and our families is at odds with each other. But what brought us together was a love of poetry. So I'm like, we can tell this story. So based off of that, and just seeing like the parallels and the comparisons and how a lot of people romanticize Romeo and Juliet, but they demonize somebody like Tay or Legina or Christina in the hood for fighting over whatever we fighting over. So I'm like, I wanted to tell this story to just put our faces on the forefront, you know what I mean, that to be romanticized as well.
Well, because, when I look at it, I always know, I'm older, right? So I know that a melody is a good melody, a good song. You can change it. You can make it hip hop, you can make it rock and roll, you can make it jazz. But that melody, you know what I mean? So that's a great story. Mm-hmm. So I applaud you for telling that, and so masterfully. And then the movie around it, the movie around that you guys got together and created that piece of work that we're showing people now. Yeah. That's inspiring. How do you think the movie came out? Did it really depict what you went through and all that?
I feel like the movie captures like a snippet, really, of that 6 months period of August up until February when we was writing it, rehearsing it, and then put it on. But I've lost so many people before the film even came about, during the film, and even after the film. So that, I feel like Romeo is Bleeding captures like years of pain, aggression, a yearning for something better in the community. And with this story, it pretty much is a snippet of what me, not just me, but also everybody in my city been going through and yearning for. Is somebody to pay attention and recognize and to represent it in a way that's real, authentic, but it's also hopeful,
I know that it's before and after and ongoing pain and suffering that you see, especially if you're friends. If you didn't grow up straight and narrow, only a few of you did, people in your community, not too many who just avoid everything, right? You mostly look at them like, oh, they ain't got no courage, right? The people who didn't come out, they're like, you can't come out to the corner? No, you can't go to the corner, right? Some of them had courage and didn't go to the corner, but mostly you felt like those people didn't have it. You had it. You went out, you seen everything, you let it go. Mm-hmm. That's what's encouraging to all those people who are living with courage, feel like they have to go out and fight a certain way in order to survive, and you show them there's something else. Yeah. That to me is what we need more. We need people who have been through it, seen it, and they can tell you that it's worthless. A lot of the struggle, a lot of the choices that people make. So Romeo and Juliet, it's a perfect melody, it goes forever, and it certainly speaks to our struggle, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I say because I was telling you that it's like, it don't change. I'm 100. Mm-hmm. My hood is the same as your hood, and there's moments where it's so bad you can't believe it, and you say, why is that everywhere? What can we do to change it? Your art, for one, right?
And I feel like it also stays the same because it's learned behaviors. And we have like a culture of media as far as like any form of media. When you tell certain stories, like you said, we do want to see the trauma. We want to see what people are going through, but we learn also by repetition. And if we keep hearing that and seeing the same thing over and over, and then when it's monetized, then it's kind of like, it's not going to change, because it's like, in order for me to make it out, I have to have a story of suffering in order to profit off of that. But it's like, you can talk about what you went through, but if you also have a vision of where you plan to be that can uplift everybody, let that be the repetition, and then we could possibly change not only the media, but also just our real lives, you know what I mean? And I don't see a lot of that enough in poetry or other forms of writing, but that's also was my goal with writing the play Taste Harmony. Is like, I want to talk about what happened 10 years ago, where we are at today as young people, but more importantly, where we plan to move to break this cycle. Yeah.
I think poetry is an interesting phenomenon in our community, spoken word, because when you take the music away, even the toughest rappers don't want to just be dumb. If they're smart, they want to be smart. They want to say things that about getting out of suffering, not about getting more. So once the music is gone, everybody starts speaking. They speak a little better, right? Because now you can hear them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the rappers, the music, and you say all this shit, right? There's a certain attitude, and then suddenly the music's going, it's like, I don't want to say that dumb shit. Like I got something else to say, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody has more than one side of them. You exude the best of what people have to offer. I was saying that earlier, I said, you should move to LA because you're gonna make it. You're a big star. You come here, you're a big star. You got to work and you got to meet people and you got to network. He said, but it's all from from my community. It's where it comes from. Nigga, I've been out the hood my whole life and I'm still hood. I can't get out of it. I can't not have love for my community. I can't not visit them. But I'd do better good for you. If I was sitting in the house, I couldn't help you. If I was sitting in the house, I couldn't have helped Jay-Z or even Kanye. I couldn't help Run DMC. I had to be where the money was.
Yeah.
So you need to move your ass to Beverly Hills, nigga. That little spot, go work at McDonald's, give a fuck where you work. You need to go and bring your talent to the world and show your community something good.
For a long time, I never thought I'd be able to leave my community as far as Richmond. So I wrote about my community. And through that talent, that art, and that passion, it allowed me to travel and go places and even do this film. So it's not saying that I want to stay in Richmond. At this point, I just been moving off of the inspiration. When I feel like when it's that time to actually go, I'm gonna be led in the right place. But I also just want it to be like that symbol of
that next big movie, that next opportunity to work with that great producer, that next chance to direct a smart budget thing at All Def Digital. That shit is here. So, I invite you again, and when you get ready, come fuck with us because we love you. We're fans of your work. We're fans of your movie and the play that you produced. All of that is very, very special to us. As people who want to make poetry big for the world and make our voices heard to the world.
What I can say about this film is real. It's people, first and foremost, it's Shakespeare. A lot of people in the neighborhood, we don't really vibe with Shakespeare. And I feel like that's been a handicap because we close ourselves off from literature and language, and we feel like our stories are not important. But when I read Shakespeare, I'm like, he's talking about the same thing that we all going through this. And it's like, the more I traveled around with the film and I'm talking to people in Chicago, they like, man, that's our story that's happening in Richmond. Go to New York, they like, that's our story. I go to Hawaii, they like, that's our story. So I'm like, I just took Shakespeare and wrote about what was happening in Richmond, and then I took Richmond to all of these other places, and they like, bro, that's us. So what I want people to know is like, this is, one, it's art, but it's real life. And it's like, it's people really going through stuff, and everybody who's seen this film has been motivated and inspired to do something about their own community. So I feel like you gotta support that. You gotta get involved and be a part of that solution and not a part of the problem, as my pops would tell me. You know what I mean? So be a part of the solution.
You are part of the solution, man, and you make us all proud. And this movie, we're inspired by and proud of you for making it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.